Have you ever really stopped to think about how life, well, keeps going? I mean, everything dies eventually, right? From a tiny insect to a giant redwood tree. So how is it that life itself doesn't just end? Today, we're diving into the absolutely incredible process that makes it all possible, reproduction. Let's get into it. It's a pretty wild paradox when you think about it. Every single living thing has a shelf life, an expiration date, and yet species can hang around for millions of years. So that's the big question we're tackling. If every individual is on a one-way trip, how does the grand story of life avoid hitting a dead end? And just look at the range. You've got a mayfly that might only get a few days, and then you have a peepal tree that can live for over 2,000 years. The timelines are just staggering, but the destination, it's always the same. Nothing is immortal. So how has this mind-boggling diversity of life managed to keep the lights on for so long? Well, here it is, life's beautifully elegant answer: reproduction. This is the process that bridges that huge gap between an individual's short lifespan and the near immortality of a species. You can almost picture it like a biological relay race, with each generation passing the baton of life to the next. But here's where it gets really clever. Life didn't just come up with one single solution. Nope. It developed two totally distinct, brilliant strategies to pull this off. Each one has its own playbook, its own set of advantages, and its own unique way of getting the job done. All right, let's look at strategy number one. This one is all about speed and making perfect copies. So think of it like a biological Xerox machine. We call it asexual reproduction. It is a direct, no-fuss, incredibly efficient way to make more of yourself and to do it fast. So the key here is simplicity. You only need one parent. That's it. And because there's no mixing of genes, the offspring are perfect genetic duplicates of that parent. We call them clones. And this process is just stunningly fast, which is a massive, massive advantage when the living conditions are good. And don't think simple means boring. This copy and paste strategy is actually incredibly creative. For example, a single-celled amoeba just splits right down the middle. That's called binary fission. Then you've got yeast, which does something called budding, where a tiny new yeast cell literally grows right off the side of the parent. And in the plant world, oh, this happens all the time. It's called vegetative propagation. Just think about a potato sprouting a new plant right from one of its eyes. It's all about making a perfect copy, as efficiently as possible. And if you want to see the sheer, raw power of the speed, you got to look at the water hyacinth. It was brought to India because it had pretty flowers, but its ability to reproduce vegetatively was so fast, so explosive, that it completely took over entire lakes and rivers. It literally earned the nickname the Terror of Bengal. That is the copy machine stuck on overdrive. But what happens when the world isn't so stable and predictable? What if being a perfect copy is suddenly a bad thing? Well, for that, life needed a whole different plan. So now, let's pivot to our second strategy, which, it couldn't be more different. If asexual reproduction is a copy machine built for stability, then sexual reproduction is a genetic lottery built for change. Its goal isn't to create a copy at all, but to create something brand new. At its core, this process involves two parents. Each one contributes some of their genetic material, their DNA. And when that material fuses together, the result is a totally unique individual. It's not a clone of mom, it's not a clone of dad. It's a completely new combination of both of their traits. And this whole beautiful process unfolds in a pretty clear sequence. First up, you have the pre-fertilization stage. This is where all the prep work happens, creating those specialized cells and getting them in the same place. Then comes the main event, the big moment. Fertilization. This is the fusion. And finally, you get the post-fertilization stage where that brand new cell starts its journey of developing into a new organism. So what are the lottery tickets in this genetic game? Well, they're super specialized cells called gametes. You probably know them as sperm and egg. These tiny little cells are the absolute key to creating a new, unique life. Okay, so you might be wondering, how does this actually work without just doubling the amount of genetic information every single generation? Well, this is where biology pulls off a truly genius move. Imagine an organism's full genetic code is like a 2-volume encyclopedia. A normal body cell has both volume 1 and volume 2. But to make a gamete, an egg or a sperm, the body makes a special version that only has 1 volume. So when the sperm with its 1 volume fuses with the egg and its 1 volume, boom! The new offspring has a complete 2-volume set again. It's a perfect system for keeping the blueprint consistent from generation to generation. And what's the grand prize for winning this genetic lottery? It's one word:
Variation. Because the offspring gets this unique mix of genes from both parents, it's different from them, and it's different from all of its siblings. This constant shuffling of the genetic deck is the fundamental, game-changing outcome here.
So we've got these two incredibly powerful blueprints for the future of life. One is built for speed and consistency. The other is built for variety and adaptation. So, which one's better? Well, as you can probably guess, it's not quite that simple. Let's really break down the core trade-off here. This really gets to the heart of it all. Asexual reproduction, the copy machine. Its big advantage is speed. It's super fast and it doesn't take a lot of energy. It's the perfect strategy for a stable, predictable world where you already know the parent's genes are a winning ticket. On the other hand, sexual reproduction, the genetic lottery, is slower and costs a lot more energy. But its killer app, its massive advantage, is variation. And that makes it the absolute best strategy for a changing, unpredictable world. And I want to be clear, this variation isn't just some neat little feature. It is a genuine superpower. Think of it as life's ultimate insurance policy. In a world with constantly evolving diseases, predators, and climate change, being an exact copy of your parent can be a huge liability. If a new virus can kill your parent, it can kill you too. But a population full of variation is like a moving target. There's a much better chance that some individuals will have just the right new combination of traits to survive whatever challenge comes next. Variation, quite literally, is the raw material that fuels evolution. And this, to me, just brilliantly illustrates the elegance of biology. To solve the ultimate problem of individual death, life didn't settle on just one answer. It found two: the fast, perfect copy for when times are good and predictable, and the slow, novel creation for when it's time to innovate, adapt, and survive. Which leaves us with a really big question for our own time. As our world changes faster than ever before, which strategy holds the ultimate key for the future? Is it the raw, explosive speed of the copy machine? Or is it the built-in creative adaptability of the genetic lottery? The answer to that question might just shape the future of all life on Earth.